Hands it off to Barkley. Saquon Barkley, touchdown Giants!
You know, every team out there has that one player that if you remove them from the equation, suddenly sets everything off about that team. We're talking about that one linchpin that just holds everything together. Or maybe in some cases, that one guy who isn't so bad. Although the NFL is not quite the star-driven league that some of its counterparts, like, say, the NBA is, there's no denying the impact that a single player can have on an organization. So much so that you might say that some of these guys are absolutely irreplaceable in the role that they serve. So today, we're taking a look at every NFL team's most irreplaceable player right now.
Excited to hear your cheers every game, and you're gonna like me.
Arizona Cardinals, DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins has been in and out of the lineup throughout his last 2 seasons in Arizona, and during that stretch, it's become evident that he was, and still is, the most irreplaceable player on that roster. While there's obviously a case to be made for their young quarterback, Kyler Murray, the stark difference in the Cardinals' offense when Hopkins is missing in action really seals the deal. The talented wide receiver opens up the field in ways that few route runners are able to, and his availability and performance really drive the success of the team, something Murray himself has quickly learned. After all, he's just 8-17-1 in his career without DeAndre Hopkins. Atlanta Falcons, Cordarrelle Patterson. Though it is rare for a running back to be the linchpin in a team's success these days, Cordarrelle Patterson is far more than just a running back for the Atlanta Falcons. The converted wide receiver has one of the most versatile skill sets in the league, and as a result, Atlanta can leverage a slew of options and look specifically tailored to his abilities. And to his credit, Patterson isn't just in there for the glitz and glam of touchdown runs or trick plays. He studied blitz protections and opposing fronts with extreme dedication. And he is now one of the most well-rounded backs in the league, especially considering Atlanta can still slot him out at wide receiver and set him back to return kicks at a moment's notice. Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson. Over the last few seasons, it has been shown time and time again that as Lamar Jackson goes, so do the Ravens. The former league MVP is an offensive weapon unlike any other, and their team does not look the same without him in the lineup, plain and simple. Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen. After decades without any stability at the quarterback position, Buffalo has its guy. Josh Allen cemented himself as one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and like Lamar, he can kill opposing defenses both with his legs and with his arm. Let's just hope he can continue to protect himself when he does choose to make plays with his feet, though. Something that has been a huge focus for Allen from the Bills coaching staff, because that team goes from a Super Bowl contender to an afterthought really quickly without Allen on the field. Carolina Panthers, Brian Burns. Panthers defensive end Brian Burns has quietly emerged as one of the best defensive players in the league, let alone down in Carolina. The Pro Bowler has gotten better and better each season, and notched career best in sacks with 12.5 and tackles with 63 in 2022. Burns attracts far more attention from the opposing offensive lines and opens up opportunities for his teammates better than anyone else wearing Carolina blue. And, you know, it's not particularly close. Chicago Bears, Justin Fields. While the sample size is still small, Justin Fields is quickly becoming inextricable from the Bears' offensive success. Chicago is so dependent on the dual-threat quarterback's ability to make plays, it's kinda insane. But luckily for Bears fans, Fields' athleticism makes him a threat to score at any moment, and he is able to patch a lot of holes in the roster for the time being. The Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is far and away the most important player on an already talented Bengals roster. Cincinnati's quarterback is their unquestioned leader and their best player. And as long as Burrow is a Bengal, Cincinnati will always feel like it has a chance at victory. Cleveland Browns, Myles Garrett. With the premium placed on edge rushers these days, it's no surprise that Myles Garrett is the most irreplaceable player on the Browns' roster. Double-digit sack guys don't grow on trees, and the 4-time Pro Bowler has done that every season since his rookie year, including back-to-back 16-sack seasons in 2021 and 2022. There's a reason that the Browns are 4-10 in games Garrett has missed since he entered the league in 2017. Dallas Cowboys, Micah Parsons. Since Dallas drafted him out of Penn State in 2021, Micah Parsons has proven to be one of the most impactful players in all of football. The 2-time All-Pro possesses a unique blend of speed and power that has helped him get 26.5 sacks in his first 2 seasons, and single-handedly has changed the Cowboys' defense. Denver Broncos, Patrick Surtain II. While everyone loves to talk about getting to the quarterback, a true shutdown corner may actually be an even more significant role. And that is exactly what Patrick Surtain II is in Denver. He has the ability to essentially shut down half the field for an opposing offense, and you really cannot put a price on that. Detroit Lions, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I don't know if it's because he plays in Detroit or if it's because he was a 4th-round pick, but let me tell you, Amon-Ra St. Brown has flown under the radar during his first 2 seasons in the NFL, despite being the most important player on the Lions. He's averaged over 130 targets across 2 years, which indicates the obvious that Detroit heavily relies on St. Brown for its offense to function. I mean, St. Brown had more than double the amount of targets compared to DeAndre Swift, who received the 2nd most. Who knows what that offense would look like without him? Green Bay Packers, Jair Alexander. Hard as it is to believe, but the Packers are no longer a quarterback-driven team. Rodgers is undeniably in the twilight of his career, and they are far more reliant on their defense than ever, which is why their Pro Bowl quarterback, Jair Alexander, is irreplaceable. He sets the tone for that defense as their emotional leader, and routinely makes game-altering plays. Houston Texans, Laramie Tunsil. Laramie Tunsil has been one of the very few bright spots in Houston during his tenure there. He's made Pro Bowls in 3 of his 4 seasons as a Texan, and while his efforts and performances can be overlooked by the national media because, well, you know, the Texans have been so bad, he does deserve credit for keeping that offense somewhat respectable despite the overwhelming lack of talent around him. Indianapolis Colts, Darius Leonard. Much has been made about the quarterback situation in Indy this season, but the absence of Darius Leonard has also been a driving factor in the Colts' struggles. That defense has been an absolute mess without the speedy linebacker flying all over the field making plays. Jacksonville Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence. Although he is still developing, Trevor Lawrence is starting to look like the real deal in Jacksonville. He's gotten the Urban Meyer stank off of him, and at this point, the Jags would be absolutely lost without him. He is that integral to their success. Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes. Well, I think this one just kind of goes without saying. Patrick Mahomes is the best player in the NFL, bar none. And he plays the most important position in all of sports. To say that he is irreplaceable is as obvious of a statement as highlighting the importance of oxygen to humanity. Las Vegas Raiders, Max Crosby. Raiders defensive end Max Crosby has somehow managed to fly under the radar as one of the top edge rushers around the league. Well, you know, at least as much as a 6'5", 255-pound Pro Bowler can. When his deal expires, Vegas is going to need to back up the Brinks truck for Max, because he has covered for a load of deficiencies on that defense over the years. And let me tell you, they cannot afford to lose him. Los Angeles Chargers, Joey Bosa. Pass rushers like Joey Bosa are hard to find, and when you get one, the last thing you want to do is lose them. Which unfortunately for the Chargers has happened intermittently over the years, as he has really battled with injuries. And when Bosa is out of the lineup, it's not just a completely different defense, but a completely different team. Los Angeles Rams, Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald has been one of the best players in the league regardless of position since he was drafted back in 2014. It isn't every day that you see an interior defensive lineman going for double-digit sacks, something Donald has routinely done throughout his career, including the time he led the league with 20.5 in 2018. Donald is utterly inextricable from every ounce of success that the Rams have had in the last decade. Miami Dolphins, Tyreek Hill. Before he got to Miami, Tyreek Hill's talent was recognized, but many thought he was largely just a product of the Chiefs' high-flying offense, and, of course, its quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. This assertion gets made about a lot of high-profile wide receivers, but it was really heightened with Hill. But you know, after seeing the way he's changed that Miami offense, seemingly overnight, it's clear that his importance to the franchise cannot be overstated. Minnesota Vikings, Justin Jefferson. Let me tell you, Justin Jefferson is the Minnesota Vikings offense. Yes, Kirk Cousins is no slouch, and they have other weapons in TJ Hawkinson and Adam Thielen, but if you've watched a Vikings game in the last couple of years, you know that everything runs through JJ, especially when the chips are down. New England Patriots, Matthew Judon. Matthew Judon shocked a lot of people by becoming a big-time contributor for the Ravens as a 5th-round draft choice. But since the Pro Bowler moved to New England, he's somehow found a way to raise the bar even higher. With 28 sacks over the last 2 seasons, Judon has been one of the most consistent performers, not just for the Patriots, but around the league. And Lord knows New England needs that in the post-Tom Brady era. New Orleans Saints, Demario Davis. Few players have more of an impact on their team than Demario Davis. The Saints linebacker regularly makes over 100 tackles a season, and he was a huge reason for New Orleans being respectable in year 1 without Sean Payton leading the charge. New York Giants, Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley has no doubt re-established himself as one of the most explosive players in the league. You know, after experiencing a couple of tough seasons battling injuries. And let me tell ya, he is as integral as it gets to a Giants team that isn't exactly loaded with playmakers on the offensive side of the ball. New York Jets, Sauce Gardner. After becoming the first cornerback to be voted first-team All-Pro as a rookie since Ronnie Lott in 1981, it was clear to everyone around the league that Sauce Gardner has arrived. The University of Cincinnati product has been unbelievable for the Jets, and is reminiscent of Darrelle Revis in the way that he can completely dominate a game from the cornerback position. Going beyond the X's and O's, Gardner seems to be driving an exciting young core in New York, and has really helped to set the development of a successful culture that has been absent from the Jets organization for years now. The Jets need to do whatever they can to keep Gardner happy, because he is far and away the most important player on their roster. Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts. What a difference a year can make, because in 2021, you'd be hard-pressed to find any Eagles fans, let alone people around the league, who thought that Jalen Hurts was the most irreplaceable player on the Philadelphia roster. But he has made such a monumental leap as a quarterback this season that the entire conversation around Hurts has changed. It went from people evaluating if he could be a long-term starter in the league to discussing whether or not he is the most valuable player in the league. Just think about how different that team looked with Gardner Minshew at quarterback, while Hurts was out with an injury. The guy is a stud now, and the Eagles absolutely need him if they want to contend for a Super Bowl. Pittsburgh Steelers, TJ Watt. TJ Watt has a case for being one of the most irreplaceable players in the league, let alone on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike Tomlin's gang is an abysmal 1-10 in the 11 games that Watt has missed. And let me tell you, they look like a completely different team without him in the lineup. It isn't just the production, which is obviously missed. Watt also appears to be the heart and soul of that team, which is a rare and extremely valuable combination. San Francisco 49ers, Nick Bosa. The San Francisco 49ers are loaded with star talent, but Nick Bosa sits at the top of the totem pole. San Fran is just 5-10 in games that he's missed, which isn't a huge surprise because the 3-time Pro Bowler is an absolute game wrecker for them. I mean, it isn't exactly easy to replace a guy that has 34 sacks over the last 2 seasons after missing 2020 with a major knee injury. Seattle Seahawks, DK Metcalf. Seattle has to be thanking its lucky stars that DK Metcalf fell to them at the end of the 2nd round in the 2019 NFL Draft. He's averaged over 1,000 yards receiving since entering the league and has a dynamic impact on that entire offensive unit, as evidenced by the shockingly smooth transition from Russell Wilson to Geno Smith. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tom Brady. Even if his play on the field has diminished, Tom Brady is indisputably the guy in Tampa. Without Brady in town, the vets that have flocked south don't go. And he has completely reset the culture of this organization. Tennessee Titans, Derrick Henry. You'd be hard-pressed to find someone who doesn't think that one of the last great bell cow backs, Derrick Henry, who routinely has one of the highest usages around the league, isn't the important player on the Titans. That offense goes as Henry goes, and his ability to eat up the clock pays dividends for the Titans defense as well. Washington Commanders, Jonathan Allen. Defensive tackle isn't the sexiest position, but let me tell you, Jonathan Allen is far and away the most irreplaceable player on the Commanders. The 2-time Pro Bowler routinely clogs running lanes and opens up opportunities for the Commanders' beastly edge rushers to get to the quarterback. But who do you think is the most irreplaceable player in the NFL right now? Was there anyone that we missed? Let us know in the comment section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.